Happy Friday, everybody. It's fine wine time again, and today we are taking a first look at Italy, which has really soared to prominence in the fine wine world over the last decade or two. Now, last week we talked about following the talent and looked at two small-scale producers where the owner makes the wine. Nimble and independent, these are the auteurs of the wine world, if you like. But how does it work on a larger scale? To produce really fine wine in greater volumes requires more than one talented individual. Where owner and winemaker are two different people, it takes a symbiotic relationship between them, as well as a compelling shared vision. To continue the filmmaking analogy, this is more like when a great director works with a studio at the top of its game. If there's a lack of ability or imagination on either side, then the results will be lackluster, whereas a constructive collaboration between visionaries has the power to change the world. A paradigm example of such a relationship was between the House of Antinori and the winemaker Giacomo Tachis. So pivotal was his influence, it's been said that there are two eras of Tuscan winemaking, before Tachis and after Tachis. Together, Tachis and Antinori created Tignanello, a radical wine in 1971, grown in Chianti but breaking all the rules in pursuit of sheer quality. It contains a majority of Sangiovese, aged for the first time ever in small oak barriques, Bordeaux style, and with small amounts of Cabernet Sauvignon and, latterly, Cabernet Franc, in place of the white varieties required in Chianti at the time. This, believe it or not, was a revolution, the momentum of which underpins Tignanello's enduring popularity and spawned numerous imitators. But it wasn't Tachis' only achievement. The great director also had stints on loan to other studios, as it were. Shortly before Tignanello launched, Antinori agreed to help some relatives with a little Cabernet project of their own. Tachis was deployed, and the result was another Tuscan titan, Sassicaia. But it doesn't stop there, because around the same time, another Marchese, Carlo Guerrieri Gonzaga, was working at the same estate. He wondered if he could grow exceptional Cabernet on his own family property about 200 miles to the north in Trentino. In 1982, San Leonardo was launched, and shortly afterwards Marchese Carlo was allowed to borrow none other than Giacomo Tachis to perfect it. This blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Carmenere and Merlot remains one of Italy's most consistent fine wines, and is so true to its original profile that it's now more classical and understated than many of the Bordeauxs that inspired it. So, I'm going to taste the San Leonardo first. It's from a lighter vintage and further north, so likely to be the lighter wine. The first thing that strikes you is this real lifted fragrance of the Cabernet and the Carmenere. It's bright, it's leafy, it's not underripe, it's just fresh, verdant, really captivating nose. And the palate is expertly tailored. It's like a perfectly cut suit. Everything in proportion, no hard edges, but a lot of structure. It's very long, it's extremely refreshing, it makes you salivate, it's almost salty. You really want to dive in and have another mouthful. But I'm not going to, because someone's got to taste this Tignanello. Here we're down in Tuscany, warmer climate, 1% more alcohol, and normally around 85% Sangiovese, and 16, according to the current winemaker and CEO there, Renzo Cottarella, is the greatest vintage of Tignanello he has produced. It's so gorgeous. Compared to the San Leonardo, we're not, as you would expect, getting those bright leafy tones of Cabernet. This is much more sensuous plums and cherries, and that's Sangiovese when it's brought to perfect ripeness. Fuller bodied, broader in the mouth, but still with that precision, that sense of tailoring, that absolutely impeccable structure. Soft tannin, but lots of them. It's a baby wine, and yet it is completely delicious. This could age for 20 years, as can San Leonardo, but they're amazingly tempting now. So there you have it, two quite contrasting styles, both born of outstanding collaborations between a brilliant winemaker and various visionary proprietors who encourage the world to think differently about Italian wine. Please do try them for yourself, and of course, the more you spend, the more we give. You know you deserve it. Cheers.